Lean works in any industry and can improve any process, be it in the office, the university, and county, state, or local government. Lean is a proven philosophy born from the manufacturing environment more than 30 years ago. In this video, you'll hear directly from folks and organizations that have incorporated lean thinking into their processes. They will talk about their improvements and the culture changes they experienced.
We've been trying for a couple of years to find out if there was someone that could come in and do an assessment of how efficient we were in business processes. In today's budget climate, and I'm afraid in the future budget climate, we're going to have to be very careful to make sure that we're spending our dollars wisely. And one of those ways to ensure that is to see if you're doing your processes that are required for business in the most effective and efficient way. We were ecstatic about the possibilities that this would afford us in being the first unit on campus that's actually used a lean office review to look at processes that we do on a daily basis and see where we could become more efficient in completing those processes. And from my perspective, it has exceeded every expectation I've ever had.
I stumbled across something that said lean management, industrial extension service, and I didn't really understand then. I said, well, is this the same as cooperative extension? I didn't know, but the more I looked into it and started to read what lean was about, and I said, this is what we're looking for. This is something that I think would really work in local government.
For them to come in and say, well, we're going to change your process, I was incredibly skeptical. No, I did think things were broken. I didn't think they could be fixed.
Okay. But once you learn that they're here to help you and there's nothing punitive about it, and they just want to improve outcomes for everybody, for the staff, for the county, for the people who are being seen.
Honestly, I wasn't too excited about it. We had a lot of misconceptions that they were just going to be coming in, watching what we do, critiquing everything that we did, sort of, I guess you could say, like the big brother, and really analyzing every step that we made and every place that we stopped. But it turned out not to be like that. They really came in and helped us analyze what we do, how we do it, and as the motto for government and industry is today is doing more with less. So how to be more efficient with the resources that we have.
We are not the experts in their processes. And we're not going to come in and we're not going to spend a day or 2 days or 3 days walking around, interviewing people, looking at their processes and saying, here's a list of 250 things that you need to do. We're not going to walk in there and say, looking at this matrix, here's how you fit in, here's your strengths and weaknesses, here's what you need to be doing. And get them involved in identifying, here's what the current process is, and here's the opportunities we have to fix in order to create a future state that has less waste in it, less frustration. And we can't underestimate the impact of that. When you have folks that are working on what they want to be working on or what their clients want them working on, they're going to do a better job. They're going to be more fulfilled, more satisfied, and it's going to take actually less time to make that happen.
Government by nature is slow. That's on purpose. You don't want massive change in government very quickly. But at the same time, we're slow, and it sort of prevents us from making real positive and meaningful changes sometimes. Lean seems to bridge that gap for us. It lets us develop tools, train our people, so that they can then run with those projects and those changes that are on the horizon. Well, how can we do it better? The idea of return on investment is a concept that isn't used often enough in government, but we're starting to use that term a lot more now. Private sector has been doing that a long time. We can do this too. It's really can be used for local government, and we believe that. So we've started off in a place and we're just continuing to build, and we think that this is the culture change that we need in Rockingham County to make us more accountable to the citizens, but to really improve the things that we're trying to do with the very limited resources that we have.
we have, less folks here. I mean, this economy has affected everyone. It's affected the county. There's, not folks here that were working here a few years ago. So we did, lose staff, through either folks, retired, took early retirement or left, or, reduction in force. So, those positions didn't get refilled. So we had to figure out a way to still get all these needs met.
I was not the biggest fan of it. It was kind of like, okay, they're making me go, so I'll go and I'll be here. But once you really see what they're doing and making the map, so to speak, that we did a big almost wall hanging of this is what we do and these are how we do it, here's your barriers, and work through those processes. You can really see where you need to be, and it doesn't require that somebody actually know your job, because that was one of my concerns, is how is somebody from a manufacturing or an engineering style background going to tell me how to be a social worker? And it's not so much that, it's not telling you how to do your job in that sense. It's more of, okay, you're the expert on your job, but we're going to help you figure out how to do it more efficiently.
When they see that whole process, they're looking at it, they have a better understanding, and then you start seeing that culture change, because I understand more than just my piece. And as they're going through the improvement activity, they're able to make changes, and management supports those changes. And then that dynamic starts. So often we go in there and we hear the same thing. I've said this before. I've talked about it for 10 years. Nobody's listening to me. And we're able to go in there during these 3 and 4 day events and actually implement stuff. But we want to be there because we want to see them succeed. It's very fulfilling for me to come back for those 30, 60, 90-day follow-ups and go through that and see the progress being made, and to watch folks that day one told me that there was nothing that they could do to improve. At that 30, 60-day mark, they're so excited, they're bragging about it. And then, the focused area is, well, what are we going to improve next?
We started talking about the travel process that we currently do. We went step by step by step, and everyone added their own little bit of the puzzle, finding out that not everybody does things the same, and had to basically figure out where our wasted time was, where our downtime was, and then follow through with figuring out what the suggestions were, how we could make things better.
On the travel study that we did, we were able to shave off 36 minutes off of each travel event where we can control it in the college. And if you have 500 travel events, you're looking at a savings that's equal to about 20% of a person's time. We actually have more than 2,000 travel events. So by shaving 36 minutes off of each travel event, the processing time where we can control it, we could end up saving almost half of a position in terms of time.
The most important thing I learned is the importance of taking a look at where you are to figure out where you're going. I think by using the process of lean management, we were able to really break down our processes and figure out where we might have waste, what things were duplicated, how we could work together better to come to a more efficient, effective way of doing things.
I would highly recommend IES to other departments on campus because of the fact that just being with a group of people from my own college, I found out how differently we do things. I have no idea how they do them in other colleges. So when you've done things the exact same way for years and years and years with very little change, you just become so comfortable with it that you think, well, this is it. This is how it's done, and you fight the same battles every day, and you go through the same frustrations, but it works.
If you are interested in how NC State can help improve your organization, please visit us at www.ies.ncsu.edu.